Hi, welcome to Glow's Candor Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Well, today I had decided to make an angel food cake. Let me tell you why. I had 24 egg whites left over from the holidays. And with an angel food cake, you can use 12 of those. And so I decided to freeze the other 12 in the freezer for later. So I thought, what can I make with egg whites? And I decided on an angel food cake. And I also have some leftover lemons in a bag, still from Christmas and New Year's. So I thought I could make a lemon icing to go on top. So we're going to call this a lemon angel food cake. So the recipe I am going to use is out of this wonderful cookbook that I got through America's Test Kitchen. And I have no reservations about making anything out of this cookbook. Everything I have made has been awesome. And to be honest, I have never made this particular recipe, but I thought, let's give it a try. So it's the angel food cake. And there's a couple of things in this recipe that are different than a lot. And as we go through the steps, we'll talk about why we're doing it. And the nice thing about this recipe is they say that the cake will not drop at all. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you do is you have to have cake flour, not just regular flour, because regular flour has too much gluten in it for an angel food cake. So guess what? I didn't have any cake flour on hand, but I made my own. And how you do that is you measure out a cup of flour, remove 2 tablespoons of flour, and add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to it. So that's what I did. And I made up a couple cups of it, and I'll have some in reserve. But that's how I did it. So if you don't have certain things, look it up, and there's always usually a substitution that you can do. So anyway, that's what I did here, and I sifted it. So that's ready to go. And a lot of angel food cake recipes call for powdered sugar, but powdered sugar doesn't seem to hold up well with angel food cakes sometimes. And this one I thought was quite interesting because they recommend that you use a food processor with your sugar instead. So I have 1 3/4 cups of white granulated sugar in here, and I am going to spin this around for about a minute till it gets, kind of a fine granular, but not quite like powdered sugar. And they say it takes a minute. So here we go. I'll be back in a minute and we'll see what it looks like.
Go.
Well, it's been about a minute, but I wanted to show you. I noticed I had to hold my hand over this because there's powder coming off of that sugar. But it's been a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it. But I didn't want that going everywhere, so I just held my hand over it. But I thought I'd mention that. So we're going to go ahead and release the top. And let's see how fine this is. Oh yeah. It's kind of powdery, but not as much as powdered sugar. It's a little bit of a granule, but not near like it was when we first put it in there, like white granulated sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and remove just shy of a cup of this. So I'll be right back with you after I do that, and we'll go to the next step. Hi, well, I reserved about a half of the amount of the sugar. This is actually going to be going into the meringue. So I'm going to put that over to the side, and here is my flour, my cake flour that I made. And I'm going to add that to my food processor, and we're going to blend the flour, or the cake flour, with the sugar that's already been processed in here, and get that nice and light and airy as well. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and put my top back on. Okay, so I'll be back in a minute. It takes about a minute to do this as well. Alright, well, it's been a minute, and again I had to put my hand over there because you can see stuff coming up. I'm going to go ahead and stop that. Oh yeah, see, it's still kind of dusty. But that's the combination of the other half of the sugar and the flour, the cake flour. And cake flour has cornstarch in it and regular all-purpose flour, but less gluten. So I'm going to go ahead and move this over here, get that out of the way. And the next step is we're going to get my mixer lined up here with my egg whites and everything. And 12 egg whites equals 1.5 cups. So, and you need to have your egg whites at room temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and put these egg whites in here. And I'm going to unplug my food processor and plug in my mixer. And you use the wire whisk for this. And I'm going to put it up there like that. And this recipe also calls for 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar. So I'm going to go ahead, and it says to do this on medium. Oops, let's see, I must not have that good. Well, why isn't that going on?
I don't know.
There we go.
Switching the wrong position.
I guess so. So it calls for 1.5. This is 1/2 teaspoon. So it's going to require 3 of them. And this is going to take a good minute to get foamy, and I'll be back just as soon as it gets foamy. Well, welcome back. This has been going actually about 2 minutes, and I can see where it's getting pretty foamy now. Can you guys see that foam in there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the amount, that 1/2 of the granulated sugar that we had done through the food processor, we're supposed to gradually add that to this, and we're supposed to increase the speed on here. So
That's full.
On high.
There it is. That might throw some out.
So now just gradually.
Yeah, I'll say, 'cause it's going all over the place.
And I'm going to go ahead and put
That's a
this
good
on
idea.
here.
Good idea.
That'll help prevent a lot of that from
Getting on the camera.
Yeah. And we're going to continue to do this until soft peak starts to form on the meringue, and I have incorporated all the sugar. So I'll be back as we're getting close to the end, and I'll show you the next step. So we've had this on medium-high now for 6 minutes, and can you see how the soft peaks are starting to form?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to add in about 1/2 teaspoon to 3/4 of vanilla. That's about 3/4. And then a good teaspoon of the real lemon. I love the smell of lemon. Just a tad more. Yeah. So the peaks are really starting to form. And I'm going to go ahead and slow this down. It was on medium-high, and we're just going to turn this off. Let's see what it looks like. So my mixer, you raise and lower with the handle over here. And I always unplug before I mess with my beaters. Just safety. So let me get this out. Yeah, you got the nice soft peaks there. See, Richard, can you get in there so they can see how those peaks are, and even this one right here on here. So
Yep.
I can smell that lemon and vanilla. It smells really good.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and just set this here for the moment. And I'm going to remove the bowl. I'm going to push this back so we have more room. And now what we're going to do is with a rubber spatula, you're supposed to fold in the flour and sugar mixture that we did the last of in the food processor. And I went ahead and just put it in here because I felt like it would be easier. And you're supposed to sift it in. So I've got this, and I'm just going to shake it over. And I'm going to fold. Fold lightly though, because you don't want to lose this air that you've made with your mixer. So we're going to do a little bit more. And I have my oven already preheating to 325, and my rack is in the 3rd position, so there's only one other position lower than the one I have, and it's usually the one I use when I'm baking. But I'm going to continue to fold this in, and I'll be back with you and show you the next step. Well, I got all the flour and that sugar mixture combined in here, and when you're folding it, make sure you do it very lightly. And it required 3 times to do that, as far as, 3 batches of the flour sugar mixture. And the reason they do that, they don't want you over mixing this. So I don't know if you've noticed, but so far in this recipe, it did not call for any butter, Crisco, margarine, nothing like that, no oil. And also there's no leavening, like baking soda or baking powder. So it's a fairly easy cake to make. And the other nice thing about making an angel food cake is you don't have to grease your pan. So as you can tell, this pan is not greased at all. And I'm going to go ahead and put this into this pan. Now if your pan does not come out, if the tube part doesn't lift up and out, you would want to put some parchment paper down in it. But mine does come apart, so I don't need to do that. But you don't want anything that has like grease on it, like wax paper or something like that. It has to be parchment paper. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to put this in here, and I'll be right back with you. Hi, well, I've got all of the batter in this pan. Of course, the pan's not greased. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in my preheated oven at 325 degrees. It says to bake for 40 to 45 minutes. So I'll be back at that point and I'll tell you the next step. Well, I just took our cake out of the oven, and you can tell how pretty it is. And what you do now is you let it cool for 3 hours, and you invert it on top of a bottle. I'm using a Worcestershire bottle. It works good for this. So anyway, I'm just going to turn it over, and we're going to put it on there and see how this works. There we go. So I will be back in 3 hours, and we'll see how it goes after that. Oh, let me see if I can get that to balance. I think it'll be fine. So anyway, I'll see you back in 3 hours. Hi, well, our cake is totally cool now, and it actually only took about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that's probably because it's winter time. If it was summertime, it would probably take the 3 hours. But when I, went ahead and turned the cake upright, I pulled this and it came right out. So now I just need to get it removed off of the bottom part. So I'm going to take a serrated little knife here and see if I can get that to come off. It rose real nice though. Oh yeah, look at that. So I'm going to just bring my cake plate over here. See if we can get it to just come off nicely. There we go. How nice that turned out.
Looks good, Miss Cole.
Yeah. I was going to tell you guys, let me just wash my hands off here, and then I'm going to tell you a little trick I did that I figured out. Because when I had turned the cake pan upside down to cool, I don't know if you noticed, but it was kind of lopsided. It kept wanting to go lopsided. So when I did that, when the cake pan was like this, I rigged up this paper towel roll and put it down in here. Well, actually it was this way. And then had this piece of paper towel going around it on the bottle.
The bottom of the pan. Or the bottle, I mean.
Yeah, like this. And it held it upright the entire time. So it worked for me. Just thought I'd share that with you in case you have that problem. See if it might help you out too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make up a little, you know, like a drizzle of frosting to go over the top. So I have probably about a cup, maybe a cup and a half of confectionery sugar, powdered sugar here. Add maybe a quarter of a teaspoon at the most, not very much, of salt. Then I freshly squeezed juice from a lemon that I had. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. And I'm going to stir. I don't know if you guys can see that with that cake in the way. Is that better?
Yep. Yes, it is.
And we'll see what we got going here. Yeah, and I didn't use all of it. I'm just going to taste this and see if it's okay. If it needs any salt or anything. It's good. So it was just a little salt and a little of the lemon juice, maybe 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice, I'm guessing was probably all needed. I'm going to try and do it so you guys can see too. And I'm just going to drizzle this over. There we go. If you wanted more frosting, you could double that. But I think that's plenty of frosting for us. But that's all there is to it. Doesn't that look pretty? So I'm
So pretty.
I'm going to go ahead and cut a slice. If you'll just stop the video for a minute, I'm going to get a plate and we'll put it on there and we'll give it a taste test. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a slice of this now. A long time since I've had a piece of angel food cake. How about you, Richard?
Quite a while. Quite a while.
Wow, this looks good. Let me just put that there. So you can see what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice and light and airy.
Okay.
Lucy, you want a piece too, don't you, baby? Oh. This is definitely a keeper for an angel food cake recipe. It is so light, so flavorful. It's like eating a cloud. I mean, it's delicious. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. And if you have, please like and subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate it. And give me a comment if you make this and share with your friends. I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.